So, my name is Dan Carter. I'm a UTV driver, and I am happily sponsored by Mr. Bryant Dunagan.
I'm Bryant Dunagan, and we run Rock Life Off-Road out of Monticello, Kentucky, UTV parts, service, and accessories. Dan has been driving for us since probably 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a funny story. I had a set of factory doors on the full body, and about every race we were losing the door. It'd come flying open, we'd hit trees, just giving her hell, but the doors wouldn't stay open. And then we were at Blue Holler,
Yeah.
and we met Bryant, and he was like, I got a set of doors that probably stay closed on that full body.
I felt so bad. Every run he would make, the doors, they were like bungee cording them shut and everything. And I was like, he came up to me, he's like, hey man, you don't have any doors at this shop, do you? And I was like, well, I've got a set that we're not using. They're currently wrapped with Rock Life. I said, if you'll leave the wrap on them, then hell, you can have them, run them. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, joke's on you.
Yeah.
It's like damn $500 doors.
Yeah.
I was like, all I gotta do is leave the sticker on it. Shit, hell, we couldn't pull the sticker off of it if we tried. But I think it was shortly after that we lined it up, got the doors put on, and then I think that was Race to Riches. And
Race to Riches was that was Blue Holler. Race to Riches, I think, was the first race after that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we made it there, and then I remember Matt Merrick with Busted Knuckles specifically saying, who's gonna jump this big like 40-foot gap? And I was like, shit, we'll do it. And I remember looking at that, and I was like, it's doable. It's very doable. But I think I was the only one in a full body.
Yeah,
like
they after it all happened, I remember you came down and you were like, I made the turn, and through my visor in my helmet, I seen 2 green arrows. And he said, I just put the pedal to the floor and followed those arrows up the hill.
And that was our main goal. We didn't even look at the rest of the course. We're just making this gap. That's all we got to do is jump the gap. And we did. It's like, I remember looking back on the video and just, you could hear the crowd just screaming just because we're the only ones in full body. And then
you were actually one of the first ones, I think. I mean, Timmy was the first one, and I'm not gonna take. He was the first one to go up it.
Right.
And then there wasn't but like 1 or 2 more after him is when you went.
Right.
And you were the first. And
right.
I don't remember how many full bodies actually jumped it, but I know you were the first.
I don't know if any. There may have been one more.
I don't
think,
remember any. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's when Jonathan Monroe was driving the Blue Fire.
I don't know.
But I can't remember. But I just remember it's like the stars aligned, and it's like as soon as I come around that turn, I knew. I was like, we got enough throttle. We can hit it, and it we ended up breaking.
Twisted drop shaft.
Yeah, we twisted drive shaft and stock, and it was just a stock drive shaft. We twisted it up, and then we threw another drive shaft in there, and I think we went back for hill 2, and we made it a little bit further. I opted not to jump it again just because I was worried about the drive shaft. And then we got down in the flat, and then that's when Joey had picked a good set of hills out, and I was like, man, I just don't know if that's doable in a full body, because some of these little rail buggy cars, like 10 more inches worth of wheelbase, it just makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
But that was our first year, and then we ended up picking up a few other sponsors, but you've been by far the best and most gracious as far as having a hand in the race program.
My thing is I showed up and at Blue Holler the day, and we'll go back to when it started. The day at Blue Holler, and you had bought. So my thing as a business owner, as Rock Life, I get people 3 times a week, 4 times a week call me like, hey man, I'm a racer, give me this,
Right.
give me that. And Dan was a customer.
Right.
Dan didn't. He called me and he's like, "Hey man, I need some axles." I'm like, all right, I'll sell you some axles. And it was this and that. And then when I finally met him at Blue Holler for the first time, he was asking me about the doors, and I was like, you know what? Yeah. So I throwed the doors, and then like he went and took this full body that didn't have any business doing what it was doing, and just beat the total hell out of it. And at one point I was like, "Man, quit! Just stop! Like it's over." But he still just never would quit. And then, you go. Like I said, I get people all the time, and they're always want, and you never hear anything else out of them. And then that happened, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to start sponsoring drivers, if I'm going to start sponsoring teams and being affiliated, like I was already in racing, I was sponsoring the Bounty Series for SRS, but I really wasn't sponsoring racers and helping racers. I was just doing the series.
Right.
And I was like, if I want to sponsor racers, I want to help guys that are there, that need it and that want it. And like I said, I get people all the time that say, gimme, and he never was that. It was always, well, let me help you and you help me, and that's what it's about. That's what sponsorship's about.
Right.
It's all, and I can sugarcoat it 15 different ways, but it's all return on investment.
Right.
And if there's no return on investment, it's not beneficial to me.
Right.
And I was like, man, he needs the help, and he's going to help me, and so let's team up, and it just kept snowballing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably one of the best decisions for rock life. I really do feel that way.
Right. I'm glad, because I don't say that I'll ever do too much. Like, I always have been on social media trying to point people your way, just because when I first started, there was very limited amount of people that was willing to help the racers. It's like, wow, I don't want to fool around with racers when the trail riders are the main ones we're selling parts to. Like, our deal is to get noticed by the trail riders, so in turn we can sell the trail riders parts. But the way that it registered in my mind is the trail riders look to the racers to test the parts and see what's going to hold up on their buggy.
And yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And the main thing that I look at with any sponsorship is I like to find out what they want from me. Like, I know that I just don't ever feel right being gifted parts, because I feel like that those parts still belong to the giver or the company that gave them. But I want to feel like I'm earning your return on the investment, as far as pointing people in your way, or trying to get business funneled in your direction.
Well, that's to me, that is, so I get people and they call me, and I've had people, we're not going to name names, but we're being honest as we can without hurting feelings. I've had people who work with the series that we run. They've called me and they're like, hey, I need some axles, or I need this, or I need that. And I'll give them the absolute best price that I can. And it's not good enough for me.
Right.
Like, I'm talking dealer price or below dealer price. Like, I don't know you.
Right.
So typically what we do is to get your foot in the door, we give you some stuff at a discount, and this is industry standard. We give you some stuff at a discount. If you're a racer, if you continue to race and you continue to promote, then you get a little deeper discount, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But I've had people I don't even know call me and be like, hey, and I've offered them stuff at dealer price, and they're like, I've got so and so over here that's willing to whatever.
Yeah.
Give it a little cheaper, and it never works out.
Right.
They get something from so and so, it lasts for a week or two, and it's over with.
Right.
And so I never was that way. I always wanted my drivers, and this is you, and we worked with Travis Skelton, we worked with Jamie Coldarn, we worked with Stacy Wilhort, Clint Garrison. I mean, just name after name in this sport.
Right.
And they've all worked their way in.
Right. And that's something that I appreciate as a driver too, because it's like some of these guys are chasing the bucket list.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say that I've raced.
Yeah.
So they'll race and they'll come in and get all these discounts, and then the company's out because they're under the impression that you're going to run a full series.
Yeah.
or you're going to hit so many races a year, and next thing you know, you got a race going on, and they're out bass fishing or hunting or
we've had that happen.
Out leisuring rather than at the races, and I understand that would be frustrating on a sponsor's side also. Is hey, I gave this guy X amount of parts, and he's not at the race promoting my stuff. So there it falls back to like the point of the return on the investment. But like as far as like a sponsor, also, is there anything that you can tell people that's looking for sponsors? What just say like what you expect as
if you're new in the sport and you're new and you're looking. First things first is you're not entitled to anything.
Right.
Don't pretend like you are. Don't think you are. The first things first, like when we look, I look for, I want to help people that need help, first of all, but I need people, it's a whole business.
Right.
And people don't understand that. People just think, oh, it's sponsored by it. It's return on investment. It has to make sense for me to make sense for you. It just has to. So if you're racing, most of the time your first year, tough it out the best you can. If you show up and you're underfunded, and I see that you're underfunded, and you're running most of your races and you're competing and you're showing up, then year 2, I can help you a little bit. My thing is I've had people come to me and be like, hey Bryant, can you do this? Can you do that? I'm like, yeah man, I know you. Like, I'll help you. They run 3 out of 10 races. They don't post nothing on the internet, social media. They don't, like I said, they don't show up to races. They don't wrap their razors, and that doesn't help me. And I want to help as many people as I can help, but in a business sense, it's got to make sense.
Right.
It's got to make sense, or it doesn't make sense.
Well, and then something that probably a lot of people need to look at also is you aren't sitting in your grandmother's basement slinging parts for
We've
these
got
different companies.
a 10,000 square foot warehouse. We've got a 2,000 square foot showroom. We've got $1 million worth of inventory. So it for me to send you stuff, and nothing's free. Nothing is ever free. Nothing's ever going to be free. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Nothing's free. Right. There's always an end game to everything, and even like with you. I mean, you are Mr. Rock Life as far as I'm concerned. You drive the red buggy. Yeah. That's it. But if you stop posting on social media, you stop pointing people to Rock Life, that's going to end at some point. I mean, it just has to, because it has to make sense to make sense.
Right.
But there's some people who just think, well, I'll just throw them. I'll throw you an axle.
Right. And
there's all this money that you can make off of me because I tell my friends or whatever that I got an axle from you.
Yeah.
It's just not real.
Right.
It's not realistic.
Yeah, and then it's I don't remember who asked me the other day. They were like, "Hey, can you get me a price on a set of?" Well, I don't remember what it was. I was like, "Man, you just got to go to the website." And it's like they were like, "Well, I mean, I figured you could point us in the right direction." It's like all I can do is tell you to go to the website.
I'll help anybody who needs help. I won't help. And please don't get me wrong. I'll help anybody that needs help, but I won't help people who won't help themselves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you just showed up, you've never introduced yourself to me, you've never met me, you've never been to an event, come talk to me, and you call me on a Wednesday afternoon like, I'm so-and-so, I've run 2 races, give me.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And two, we've talked about like in game, like we really didn't say, okay, we're going to give it 2 years, 5 years, whatever.
No.
And like, I don't care if we're, got grandkids and we're 80 years old. I'm still going to be trying my best to enjoy the sport the best I can.
Yeah, this is all for fun.
Right. And then, at the end of the day, everybody's still got to make a living, but you still have to enjoy it. And then a lot of people, like their first few years of racing is like, oh, we got to get sponsors. And that's not necessarily the case. you can find good companies like Rock Life that will offer a sponsored discount to keep you from just shelling money out hand over fist. But something else, you're talking about the other drivers earlier. It's nice to see how well they've progressed.
It is.
And you was talking about Travis Skelton. It tickled me to see him co-pilot.
Yes.
And
I was
put the car
proud
on
of
the
Travis.
podium.
Yes.
And Travis is just all around good guy.
He is.
Can't say enough good things about him. Humble, but to see him sitting in that car, boy, he was
smile
grinning.
was from ear to ear.
Yeah.
I never was so proud. And we've had guys come through the Rock Life program, and they're friends for life.
Right.
No matter what happens, and we made out, and I'm not even talking about sponsorship. They're friends for life. Travis is one of those. Travis is a friend of mine and will always be because of the sponsorship.
Right.
Now, whether he races again or not, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Travis is a good guy, and I've never been so proud of someone for what him and Paul accomplished at King of Hammers. Yeah. And when I seen those pictures and those videos of him smiling, dude, I was on it. I was like, yes.
Yeah. And that's
so awesome.
That is a feat in itself.
It
I know
is.
that we've, everybody, that's kind of like a bucket list thing for a lot of people, is just to go out there and race. But, they went out there and they killed it. And they just say that King of Hammers is just an excruciating race. It's hard on everything. And about the only thing that we see like that in racing the series that we run is probably Texas. And when we were out there a couple of weeks ago, it was just brutal. And I could only imagine if that was the mini King of Hammers version.
Quick story about Travis. So I met Travis through another guy who had worked his way into the Rock Life deal. And I met Travis, and we became pretty decent friends. And then I was like, I want to build me a buggy. I want to race.
Yeah.
Like, I want to race. Like, I'm seeing everybody having all this fun. I'm spending all this sponsor money. I'm coming to races anyway. It's like, let's just race.
Right.
So we built the red buggy that you're driving now. And my first race was at Wildcat. And I'll never forget this. Me and you were there, and there's pictures of us together. And when I come across the finish line, there was a ditch. Like right past the finish line, there was a ditch. And there was razors, and I don't know why they were there, but there was razors right past the finish line. And so I come across the finish line, and my foot's on the brake because I don't want to run into these razors. So I hit this ditch, and the back end of that buggy jumped 4 foot off the ground. I mean, just bunny hop. And I looked through my visor, and Travis is dead in front of me, laughing his ass off at me. Because he was like, why were you doing that? I was like, I didn't know what else to do. This is my first race.
Oh, they're just coming in hot.
Oh, he was cracking up, man.
Well, last conversation I had with him, he was working on a big buggy.
Yeah.
And
he's building one.
I don't know if he's coming back and going to run a particular series.
He is, I don't think he's worried about points racing.
Right.
I think that kind of burned him out a little bit. Points racing. He's going to build him a buggy. He wants to get out and play in it and have some fun.
Right.
He spent probably 3 years, and I'm telling how many thousands of dollars trying to win a championship, and I think he's just over that phase and wants to go have some fun.
Yeah, and that can take a lot of wear and tear on you too. Points chasing, like when we started, we were like, man, we're just going to do this for fun, and I was a spectator before I started racing. And I did the quick math, like I could be out here having a chance to win money rather than spend money, and boy, did I not know then. It takes a lot of money to get out here and have a good time. But then when you start the point series, then it's like a whole different game.
Miles.
Right, and then you think you're fast, or you're on the, looking at the times, and it's like, oh well, there's just because you had a good time don't mean that you got a lot of points.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, when you start figuring up your point system, then that lets you know where you stand overall for the series. As far as you going back to Wildcat, see, you raced a full series of the Cup.
Yeah, well, I run Cup with the help of Brandon Grapevine.
Yeah.
I run 5 races on the east.
Right.
Brandon run 5 races on the west. He run like Texas and Missouri, and I think what was there 2 races I think in Missouri at the time.
Yeah, I think at that time
there was Texas, 2 races in Missouri, and I think he run the first bikini bottoms for me.
Right.
And one more somewhere.
Yeah.
So Brandon run 5.
Yeah.
And Brandon's an awesome dude. We run as a team together. Brandon run 5, I run 5. And so our goal was when the result sheets were released at the time, it was a 2-column deal. The way I don't know why it was that way. It was just the way they posted it.
Right.
So I told Brandon, I said, my goal is for us to be on the left column.
Right.
Because that's the higher finishers.
Right.
So every race we finished on the left column.
Right.
Never once on the right. And for the year we finished the top 10.
Yeah.
I was never fast. I couldn't get used to the feel of the buggy. I couldn't steer it. Honestly,
Right.
I was always late. And with more seat time, I probably could have gotten better, but it just wasn't. I don't know. And we used to run dirt cars.
Yeah.
And I drove decent dirt cars, but I always enjoyed watching crew chief and mechanicking. I always enjoyed that more than driving. The driving put too much stress on me.
Right.
So that's when, after that first year, I was like, hey, I come to Jody at Bikini Bottoms. It was for finals.
Yeah.
Actually, I come to Jody and I was like, hey, so I'm thinking about what if we put Dan in the red buggy for I think it was it 20? I think it was 20.
Yeah.
Because you would run race riches.
Right.
You'd run race riches in it. And I said, what if we put Dan in the buggy for 20? And Jody's face lit up like I've never seen. And she's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
And because you've been running Franklin.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had that buggy, and it was, man, I think it was tough as nails.
It was.
And started out as a 900, and then
that was the old Timmy buggy.
Yeah. Austin Pruitt built the chassis. Timmy wound up with it. He ran his first UTV series in that buggy, and then we picked it up from Matt Brinker and started racing straight up series with it, just straight out of the box. And man, that thing's, I remember it had holes in the sidewalls of the tires, but it had tire balls in it. You just about stick your fist through it, and like we were just dirt road poor wanting to race, man. So we ran that buggy as is for a whole season.
I missed the straight up series.
Yes, and this, it was just based off of UTVs, and they would pick whatever hill.
Yeah.
It didn't matter where in the park it was. It was like the spectators will find us.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going out and having a good time hitting hills and getting times, and that's, that was a pretty good series for a while it lasted. And then once that series ended, we were just like, man, we need more power. And then I kept having transmission issues, and then our thoughts were to put a turbo transmission in that buggy. And then about middle way through, it's like, we messed up. We should have just put a turbo engine and transmission in it. And that's the route we went. And then ran that for a good year, was somewhat competitive. I was just glad to have a safe buggy at that point.
It was a safe buggy. It was a safe buggy.
Versus the full body, like cartwheeling off of a hill, and the full body versus Franklin.
Yeah, it was a safe buggy. It was a safe buggy. I remember down there at Bikini Bottoms, that thing, I don't know, we changed rear bearing carriers on it. Anything that you could change, we were changing in between runs. We were robbing from this razor to that razor, trying to get it together. And good rig. It was a good rig.
Yeah.
It'd seen its days.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And when Jody was like, yes, that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me go ask Dan. Let's see. Hopefully he doesn't, because I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't drive it. I don't need to be driving it. Somebody else needs to enjoy it.
Right.
I don't want to sell it because I enjoy it. I enjoy it, and I didn't want to sell it because I knew it was going to be a financial disaster if I sold it.
Right.
Because we had built that buggy. I mean, Hess radiators, Hess hubs,
Right.
KB3 drop shafts, Super ATV steering. I mean, just everything that you could buy
Right.
to put on a buggy, we had done.
Right.
And I knew if I turned around and sold it, I was like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
And I never was so glad. I was so nervous that you were going to be like, no, I don't know. And I was like, no, he can't do that. He has to say yes.
Yeah. Well,
And,
it's one of those things. Like as soon as we talked about it, I was just like, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Has he not seen
Oh, I'd seen.
how I drive?
seen.
And then I remember
I'd seen.
you telling me, like, I pulled a little stunt at RBD, and it was a bounty hill, and they're like, nobody's gonna climb it, and I was like, to the moon, have to hit it wide open, and we'll see. And we did. And I remember you saying, just don't do any RBD shit in my buggy.
Well,
And at the time I was like, I completely understand.
you know,
It's like
we were racing.
Yeah, it's like we don't want to go total out a good top of the line buggy first weekend.
It's a good rig, and it's been good to us.
Yeah.
It took us a while to line it out, you know, and it's always, it seems like it's a ball joint or it's
Right.
you know something stupid, and most of the time self-inflicted. I mean,
Right.
honestly, and so but towards the end of last year, we got the thing
Yeah.
kind of lined out, and you had some good runs out there at Hawk Pride.
Right.
Whooped everybody's ass. You had some good runs out in Texas. Whooped everybody's
Well,
ass.
we're still learning, and it's like something we're trying to figure out is like what parts to use. And we've always been
Yeah.
best of the best, and it's like now we have that car just about bulletproof. I mean, it's got
a good car. I mean, with Thomas's drive shaft in it.
Right.
Now we've had drive shaft issues the last 2 races.
Right.
Because the last race was finals.
Right.
We threw a yoke out. Texas, you climbed the first hill. Second hill, you threw a yoke out.
Yeah.
So we got Thomas's. Was it PD? Is it
PDI.
PDI.
And
We got PDI in there now, so that's
Thomas-
helping us out.
Thomas is a fellow racer, and
Yeah.
he's good as gold to work with, and always bends over to help everybody out. He got us a drive shaft Monday. We threw it in
Yeah.
Tuesday and did a new tune on it, and everything's good to go. And
Seems to be running good.
we think we got everything dialed in for tomorrow. So we're at Windrock this weekend, so we're going to be running the UTV Bounty tomorrow, and hopefully we can put that car back on the box.
I'm still in the trophy if you win. That's all I know. Yeah, no, it's been a fun ride. It really has, and I hope it continues. I don't foresee any reason why it wouldn't. I
Yeah.
mean, we're out here having fun.
Yeah.
He's winning races. We're selling parts, and that's what it's about.
At the end of the day.
It is. I mean, it's about whoever's is sponsorship deal. Whoever's driving has got to enjoy it, but
Right.
they've also got to be competitive for the sponsor. Guys, just quit calling, and this ain't just for me. Just quit calling me. Quit calling Dustin Robbins. Quit calling all these other parts people and getting mad when we say no because we don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, spend some money with your people.
Right.
Get to know them, make relationships, and that goes a long way.
Right.
You know, I had, L&W is a good sponsor of ours.
Mhm.
You know, at the time, Levi Carter was down there,
Right.
and it took me, like, I had to get to know Levi. Levi was trying to send me stuff to put on my buggy,
Right.
and I was like, I don't know you.
Right.
Who are you? And, you know, we spent some time, we talked, and we made relationships, and then Levi was like, I said, well, let me buy a set.
Right.
Let me buy a set of radius rods if they work out, and if it works, then we'll do something
Right.
more.
Yeah.
And you know that's the way it should be.
Oh yeah. And
Because
then-
I don't want to support anything that's not good for us.
Right.
For me and you.
Well, and it, like you were talking about earlier, it's like, we went through our fair share of parts, and like,
Yeah.
and a lot of the parts were, hey, we're designing this, will you guys run it for us? And at that time, we're like, yeah, but we're not really getting a lot of seat time outside of racing, so we were parts testing while racing,
Yeah.
which is
That's-
not the
that's
best thing
hard.
to do, because you're still obligated to that company to test their parts.
Yeah.
And a lot of good companies, and it's just, they may have a prototype for a just say like a ball joint or something,
Yeah.
and you want to put that thing through the ringers to help them better their parts for trail riders,
Yeah.
racers, whatever. And like you said, at the end of the day, everybody needs to sell parts. Everybody needs to have a good time. But overall,
got to
have a good
be
time.
beneficial for everyone.
Right.
You know, like I said, and I beat it to death. In our relationship, it has worked for me because you work it. We've both been talking about this week to week. We both have been working on our social media,
Right.
trying to improve it.
Right.
And it's not just for me. It's just something that we're able to bounce off of
Right.
each other. You know, I want to promote you. You want to promote me. As long as, you know, you want to promote LW Fab. You want to promote Sedona Tires and Wheels, Super ATV, Super Grip.
Right.
All these companies, you know, it's not just about me. It's about everybody.
Right.
And as a retailer, I want to do that as well.
Right.
So we're working together,
Yeah.
trying to improve social media. We're doing Free Hat Fridays
Yes. Which
every
ends
week.
here shortly, and we'll be drawing for the winner of that. Hadn't had a lot of great service up here, but we're going to look into see who the
We
winner
may
was.
extend Free Hat Friday
Yeah.
through the weekend.
Yeah, that'd probably work better. That
Give
way
it
we'll
out
just
someday, yeah.
we'll just because a lot of what we decided to begin with is I was going to do a week, Rock Life was going to do a week, and then we didn't even think about race season coming up. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to be at the races, and 9 times out of 10 these parks don't have great service, and you know you can get a text out. Sometimes you may have to just wait till Sunday. So we'll see how that goes. We'll keep an eye on all that. But if you see us out at Windrock, come say hello. And then if you are ever in Kentucky and want to buy straight from the store, Monticello, Kentucky.
2868 East Highway.
Well, man, I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
feel like this has been a first kind of
It's
good kind of introduction of both ourselves and talking about sponsorship stuff
Yes.
like that. And then we still don't know. It's like the whole saying "Welcome to the shit show." That's kind of how this
That's
started.
tomorrow.
Yeah. But I just wanted to be able to take sponsors, take buddies, race people, whatever, come in, have a beer, not have a beer, just talk the shit and let everybody know that we're just average Joe people. You know, we're both self-employed, trying to make a living, trying to enjoy racing. And in order for this sport to grow and gain traction to grow, you know, people just need to realize that it's not out of grasp. Like anybody can race, and I know you started out doing dirt track, and then eventually evolved into the rock bouncing scene. And we have had a blast doing the stock class, which you guys started sponsoring last year.
The stock class and Clyde. I hope
Yeah.
you watch this. Saturdays. Put the stock class on
Yeah.
Saturdays.
Yeah, I think
That's the only downside to the stock class because I want Joe from the holler over here to bring
Right.
his whatever
right.
and be able to run the stock class, and it's hard for those guys to run
Right.
that on Friday.
Right, you know, everybody
Uh,
works, and you just can't take off on Thursdays and Fridays to come race. So I think that would be a nice addition to just throw in early Saturday morning. But Jay Storts drives a big bouncer, and we were talking about it earlier, and he was like, I wish I would have gotten in on this earlier. He's like, the competition in the stock class is just unreal.
It is.
And it's just, he's like, I bought this machine, stock, brought it out here, and I'm having the time of my life. And that's pretty much the way we were with our full body.
The first year in the stock class, I think there was some people that had some hesitation because there was some big names in it
Right.
with some big built cars.
Right.
A little more than what we anticipated the stock class to be,
Right.
maybe. But now that's tamed a little bit, and so the competition has tightened, and it is an everyman's class, and
Right.
that's what we want it to be, and that's what we hope it will be for the rest of the year.
Right.
So yeah, if you got a razor and you want to race, this is the perfect place to do it.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is a 4-seater
Yeah.
won
Whooped your
Texas.
ass.
Texas. 4-seater took me out of Texas.
Whooped his ass.
And then I'm not sure who was on the box today, but Polaris won Texas. I'm not sure if Polaris or Can-Am won
I didn't hear about that.
today, but I think it may have been Polaris. So you know,
rumor is Tyler Heinzel's got a Pro XP and he's coming for all you all.
I hope he does. Bring it on.
He's coming.
Yeah. As long as it grows, I think that's the main thing. Like, I would love to see the stock class have like 30 people in it.
I would.
I think that'd be.
I think it is genuinely. I think it's probably the best class we got.
Yeah.
Just so many different people from so many different walks of life. And it's like you go buy a Razor 1000 or a Can-Am X3 or whatever, show up and run.
Right.
The courses are pretty mild compared to what we run in the Cup Series and what we run in the Bounty. It's very mild compared to what we run in the Bounty Series, but it's pretty mild. So if you've got a good trail rig, get your stuff. Borrow you a fire suit. If you ain't got one, come see me. We'll find you one.
Fixed up.
And come race it.
Yeah,
it'll be a good time.
Yeah.